is on my demo. Did y'all boys not get the memo?
That's way too hard. Too many remixes for me. I missed the old intro, and that's just what it is. Welcome to the stream, ladies and gentlemen. It is good to see you. Yesterday was a lot to process, and I don't even have to lie about it, okay? It was a lot. I feel like I caught every little thing that is going on with Melanie, and I don't know. It was a lot. And we in the stew, okay? I'm in a better mood today, just because a part of you, when you accept new information like this, or it just gets worse because you hear like the details, it's unfortunate. And I got really frustrated yesterday, but you know what? I'm not gonna apologize. I might have not said everything perfectly. I was angry, but I'm not gonna make an apology today. So we're gonna move on. Love you guys. And we're going to get to it today. We're really just going to finish up Melanie. So this is the first video that is true to time, meaning this said it was about 4 hours and 50 minutes. It's actually like 4 hours and 50 minutes because they cut all the fluff out for us. So it's actually going to be true to time. So right now we're in the middle of Pryor. If you don't know, we are listening to John Pryor basically cross Melanie Gibb, and she's kind of just letting him walk her down every answer because she's kind of just letting him speculate, which I think is just interesting because every time he suggests that she's doing something, she kind of just agrees as if she is doing that thing. She's like, could be. So I think she's being walked by him. Just interesting to watch how the court proceedings go, but we're going to get to it. Love you guys. If we crash out, we crash out. I'm a human being, and it happens. But I will try to keep your ears safe today from all the Colby cussing. Love you guys, and let's just keep going. You know I'm going to give you my thoughts as we go.
Turning to myself about what we would stipulate to in terms of exhibits.
All right, there's been offer for exhibits 6 and 7. I believe not. We'll confirm with the clerks. Those are not yet admitted. Defense exhibits 6 and 7, not yet admitted. Is the state aware of what these are, and is there any objection once you've reviewed them, please?
Thank you, Your Honor. I was just double checking defense exhibit list. It's my understanding that this is a Lori for Style at iCloud and also the Lolly Time at iCloud, the Cellbrite of those. If that is what those are, they are stipulated to, and there's no objection.
That's what they are, Judge. And the subparts that go with it, I believe under 6, it's A through F, and then 7 is like A through D, I think, Judge.
All right, counsel, I'm gonna have a quick sidebar with you to make sure we don't duplicate numbers or clearly mark, and I'll have our clerk join in on the sidebar just as we get in on defense exhibits. All right, counsel, thanks for the sidebar. Just
like
clarifying our exhibits here. What is being offered, and I believe stipulated to by the state, would be defense exhibit 6, A through AA. And on that set of exhibits, does the state stipulate those may be admitted?
Yes, Your Honor. With those clarifications, the state would agree that the Cellbrite, the iClouds themselves are already in, and these are content from those iCloud accounts.
Okay, and that will be admitted, and the court will ensure that only what is admissible through that comes in and is observed or given to the jurors for deliberation. Likewise, there is defense exhibit 7, and that consists of 2 subparts 7A and B also. Does the state agree to the admission of 7A and B?
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. We'll take the same precaution with those before they're submitted for deliberation. With that, then, Mr. Pryor, if you'd like to continue, you may.
Thank you, Judge. Oh, thank you. Now, what I want to do next is go through a little bit of a timeline, if we could, okay? You met Lori in mid to late October of 2018.
Beginning of October.
Oh, was it the beginning of October?
Yes.
And that was, you were, and what I'm unclear about is that you were either a teacher or an instructor at a religious institution, right?
I was just invited to teach a segment of something.
Okay, and do you recall what that segment was that you were teaching?
It was about health and nutrition and preparedness ideas associated with those.
Judge, may we approach?
Health and nutrition. you can't just talk about health and nutrition. That's not something you can just talk about. So I wonder if she has any qualification for that, but whatever.
Yes. All right, council, we're continuing. Just now, apparently there was published to the jurors something that may have had information that was inadvertently published that was not to be given to the jurors. So with what was just published potentially on your monitors or the large screen here, I am going to instruct the
Yes,
jurors.
let's just go ahead and be honest with you. And just going forward, it's pretty scary how people can just go and be teaching things. That's why you have to be very careful with what you say and do. You can't just say things if you really don't know what you're saying. So it's scary because, yes, Chad was teaching people, Lori was teaching people, giving classes, going to camps, being the main headline leaders, writing books. Like, it was scary what they were creating their own world.
Disregard what they saw or anything that was read on there that may have been inadvertently published. Wasn't the intention of council to do that or the court to allow it. So whatever you may have read or seen on that, please disregard that and do not consider that in any way in your deliberations or consider it as any evidence in this case. We'll try to work through that issue as additional information may be submitted or published, and be cautious when publishing anything, council. With that in mind, Mr. Pryor, once you're ready, you can continue with your
Thank
cross-examination.
you, Judge. So October of 2018, at some point, and you're saying, I think I said mid, but you're saying early of 2018, you met Lori Vallow.
Correct.
And from previous testimony, you discussed statements you made that you discussed that you would talk to her almost regularly.
Correct.
Now, today, you talked about the fact that you spoke with her almost regularly up until January of 2019. Is that correct?
Yeah. Like more of like a daily occurrence until, I'm not sure exactly when it started changing, but
Okay.
I would say somewhere between January and February.
And then she started what you described as moving around a little bit.
Correct.
Okay. And when she was moving around, let's talk a little bit about that. When she was with you, she was in Arizona.
When she was with me, when I met her,
When you first met her in October, that was somewhere in Arizona, right?
right?
And she was there. You folks were there at the same vicinity up until the first part of January. Is that fair?
I believe so.
Okay. And then did she move somewhere around the 1st of January?
So I remember she had the first house. It was either Chandler or Gilbert. I get confused.
Okay.
They're right beside each other. And then she moved to another house, maybe within less than half an hour away from there.
I'm not going to lie to you. We moved more. They still moved a lot after I had moved out. The moving was insanity. I mean, sometimes less than a year in a house, sometimes 6 months in a house, just constantly changing homes. It was crazy.
And during that time, you weren't seeing each other every day then at that point, correct?
When she moved to the second house,
Yes.
I don't know. We saw each other often. I don't know how at that point.
How about when you cornered Kelsey in the shower and was standing next to I've told you guys a story. Someone asked for this story yesterday, but it's relevant now. When my parents were moving from the house that Kelsey and I got married in, they moved not even that far. Every time Charles and Lori moved into a house, it was on for rent, for sale as well. They'd move in and then the house would sell. That's what they told me, at least. And for me to have that many houses sell the second you move in is weird, but whatever. And so we go to this new house. It's right down the road, and we're checking it out. We're kind of looking at the views and whatever. So Kelsey goes into the shower, and I think Melanie and Lori, this is Kelsey's story to tell, cornered her in the shower, literally, as she's in the shower looking around it. And they like step in and like block the door, like the two velociraptors in Jurassic Park in the kitchen. And then at one point, I'm looking out the window and I feel a person's shoulder on my shoulder. And obviously, I'm assuming that it's Kelsey, because nobody would just come up and get that comfortable with me. And it is Melanie Gibb, and she is just standing there and not saying a word. And I start to talk to her like it's my wife. And I turn my head and I'm in shock because there was just, I mean, when I say zero boundaries, even physical boundaries, that's what I mean by that. So we were talking about very creepy, like, and the more you look back, even more creepy. And even in the time, we were like, what the hell? Me and Kelsey and Tylee would discuss this at length. This was a discussion when we went out. This was a discussion on a regular basis, how uncomfortable we were with Melanie Gibb and Lori. And the other question was, are Melanie Gibb and Lori in having a relationship outside, you know, having a romance? That was a question we had.
Remember?
Okay, you don't remember. Okay, and then at that point, after that second house, then where did she go?
She went to Hawaii.
And that was around February 1st, right?
It was in February. I don't recall when she actually flew out there.
So if I were to represent to you that around February 1st to the end of March, Lori Vallow was living in Hawaii, is that something that you would have any reason to disagree with?
It could be true.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
See, stop saying it could
And then
be
when
true.
she's living in Hawaii from February 1st of 2019 till the end of March, how often did you see each other in person?
Oh, just once.
Okay. Saw each other once. Tylee was out there at one point as well, right?
Prior to me coming, yes.
Okay. And please excuse me, but your relationship with Tylee would be described as not the best. Would that be fair?
I would just say no relationship.
Yeah,
Okay, and
zero.
that's what you've previously
You
said.
know
There
why?
just wasn't any relationship,
Tylee
right?
did not
That's
like
right.
Melanie Gibb for good reason.
You folks didn't particularly care to be around each other.
That's not true. It just didn't.
Okay. Just no relationship.
Right.
So when you testify that you met her a couple of times, I think is what you said earlier today. Is that right?
A few times I've been around her.
Okay. It wasn't of anything of any substance, correct?
Correct.
So anything she would have said or not said to you, it wasn't anything of any significance, correct?
She wasn't talking to me.
Okay. Okay. That's no relationship. I agree with
Objection, Your Honor. Strike the narrative.
Sustained.
Thank you.
Okay.
You know what? Freaking Lindsay, bro. Killing this.
Well, during that February 1st to the end of March, how often would you talk to Lori on the phone?
I am not sure.
6 times a day, probably.
Okay. You don't remember.
I don't remember.
You would have remembered if it was every single day, right?
It's been too long for me to recall that.
Okay.
Finally, she stands up for something.
And would you agree with me that your memory would have been better closer to the incident than it would be at this much time later, right?
I believe so.
Yeah, so I want to give you guys another story. It's story time right now. I'll give you quick insights. So Tylee wanted to take her friends to Disney for something. And so she asked my mom to take them to Disney. And Lori was adamant that she was going to take Melanie Gibb and they were going to go and be in the temple the whole time. Don't know why she even went out of her way to tell us this story. So they go to Disneyland, and this is the best story ever because it's so stupid. This is exactly what Lori lies about, something that doesn't even matter. So she called us from there or something like that, and Tylee was in Disneyland with her friends, and Lori and Melanie were together, and Lori's like, yeah, we just got out of the temple, and we're on our way to go get the girls. And for whatever reason, she's like, here, I need to do, I forgot what she needed to do, but she hands the phone to Melanie Gibb. And Melanie Gibb, I'm just by nature, I guess, just like, okay, she handed the phone off. This is awkward. So I was like, hey, how you doing? And she's like, oh, so good. And by the way, at this point, Lori has been adamant they did not go to Disneyland. She's adamant that they were there to be in the temple. And Melanie Gibb, right off the bat, goes, the Cars ride was so fast and fun. And we went on the tower and it was dropping and we've had so much fun. And I'm like, why did you lie about going into Disneyland? Like, nobody needed you to lie about that, but you felt the need to tell me that you didn't go in. And then when the phone came back, I'm like, she's like, yeah, we went in for a few minutes. And I'm like, it's so stupid. Like, and Melanie ratted her out, even though there was no reason to lie about being inside of Disneyland. Like, if I took my kids and I had Kelsey, I'd be like, okay, yeah, we might drop them off, but we'll probably go in at some, I don't know, it's just so stupid. But the first thing she does, yeah, the Cars ride was so fast. It's like just so stupid. But the point being, I know Tylee did not want to be around Melanie Gibb, and she had to go on a 6-hour drive with Melanie Gibb. Like, Lori just kept bringing her, and we would go to lunch or dinner as a family, and Melanie Gibb would not be there. And I had set a boundary, I think at one point, said, hey, can you not invite Melanie? Like, we're really uncomfortable with it. So we were all meeting up that night. And as we're leaving, we hear effing Tokyo Drift. And a car just pulls up this quick as hell, quicker than a hurry. And Melanie Gibbs gets out her car and runs and hops in the car as we're pulling out of our driveway to go to dinner. We all had already set that boundary with Lori. And she jumps in, and Lori kind of looks back at us with that smile, and we drive off. And I look at her later and say something. I'm like, what was that? She's like, she just showed up. I'm like, yeah, she has an effing 6th sense to know we're going to dinner on time. She just knew to peel out and just screeching halt so she could run into the car before we left because she had a sense that we were going to dinner. I'm telling you, she was just like they were just attached at the hip. So I don't want to hear any narrative from Melanie that they were not close or whatever the case was, because I observed a totally different relationship.
And you would agree with me that if you were to give any kind of a statement close in time to when these events took place, they would have been more accurate than statements that maybe you're making today.
Maybe a little bit more.
Okay. Well, you acknowledged to me that you have difficulty getting facts straight, information straight.
Objection, Your Honor. Misstates the
Thank
testimony
you.
and it's a narrative. Move to
Sustained.
strike.
He's
Sustained
getting
and strike that.
walked. He's
Okay. You
walked.
testified earlier that you sometimes don't remember things correctly.
That's right.
Okay. Is it possible today that you're suffering from that today as part of your testimony?
I think it's a general forgetting because when you go have a relationship with somebody, you don't remember every detail of it. I think it's a normal forgetting.
But you were pretty detailed in your testimony today, specific about a lot of things.
Objection, Your Honor. Move to strike. There's no question.
There is a question.
Well
coming.
sustained. It wasn't a question, Mr. Pryor. It's just a statement. It's
Isn't it-
argumentative. Go ahead with the question, please.
So what you're telling me is that your testimony today is based on, to the best of your recollection, what you remember happened back several years ago, right?
Yes.
And that today you're not influenced by your difficulty remembering things sometimes today, right? Just for today.
I'm losing my mind with these two going back and forth. When I tell you that it's just so hard to follow this because all he's trying to do is make her look like she doesn't know what she's talking about, and she just keeps saying correct, and he just keeps trying to make her look so like out of her mind. It's just endless. It's just, please stop.
Well, the same.
Objection, Your Honor. Argumentative.
Sustained.
Thank you.
Ask another question, please, Mr. Pryor.
You're not suffering through your testimony today of the issue we talked about you being somewhat forgetful, right?
That's not. Be more specific.
It's a hard way to answer that question because of the things that we're talking about today, I've shared so often that those are the things that I remember.
Okay. Okay. And we're going to get to that a little bit about some of the things. Now, after the end of March, then where did Lori go?
I know she at one point
Awesome. Thank
was
you,
with
Susan.
Alex, and I can't recall exactly when that was, but it was prior to her going to Texas.
Was with Alex somewhere.
Yeah, she went to Alex's house,
Where did Alex live?
in his house.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you. Thank you for that message, Web Sleuth. Appreciate that.
Town.
It's either Queen Creek or Santan, Arizona.
That's in Arizona.
Where did Alex live? In his house.
And then at some point she went to Texas. Is that what you were saying?
I just remembered she went to her and let's see. She had another house she went to. I'm just trying to remember where that fit in.
Okay. But in any event, she was moving around quite a bit.
She
Yeah.
went to
Okay, now,
from
if I go
Arizona to Hawaii to Houston with Charles, back to Arizona, back, and then moved to Rexburg, and then went back to Hawaii, and then got arrested.
Back to February through March. February 1st through the end of March when Lori was in Hawaii, and she was at a place called Kauai,
Correct.
one of those islands over there.
Correct.
Okay. And she was with Tylee for at least a portion of that, right?
I believe Tylee, and I think she had a friend with her too. Tylee's friend and her.
Okay.
That's my memory.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Who's
But
Tylee's
JJ
friend?
was with the father, Charles, correct?
I would assume.
Okay. You
was.
don't know.
I haven't thought about it.
Okay. So you
What?
don't know where JJ was at this point.
I probably knew that then.
You knew that then? You just don't recall now, right?
I haven't thought about it. I don't recall.
Okay. Okay. So for a 2-month period, Lori didn't have JJ with her when she was in Hawaii.
You know
JJ
what I just realized? That makes a lot of sense because my anger towards Lori for abandoning JJ even in a bad situation and not going back to be his mom should have been the first biggest red flag, because you let Charles take him by himself, but it wasn't a punishment or something for mostly anybody but JJ. He's your baby. Like, how could you not want to be with him? I couldn't let my kids just disappear like that or just go somewhere and me say, I'm going to leave. So that should have been the first indication that she didn't give two shits. Seriously.
At least we think was with Charles for that 2-month period.
I would say so.
Okay. Okay. And were you aware that there were divorce proceedings filed by Charles at some point?
I was aware of that.
Okay. Were you also aware that subsequent to those divorce proceedings, there was a reconciliation between Charles and Lori?
I believe so.
Okay. And at that point, they were contemplating getting back together and trying to work on their relationship, right?
It could be. I can't remember exactly the words, but I would say it's possible.
Okay. Well, what I
Just
guess
say
if
no.
you're talking to your friend every day and this great communication is going on, I would think that a discussion about reconciliation would have been discussed during all those daily conversations. It wasn't-
Objection, Your Honor. Narrative, move to strike.
I mean,
Sustained.
Thank you.
was there a discussion about reconciliation between you and Lori after the March visit to Hawaii by Lori?
It's possible.
Okay, you don't remember though, right?
It's just been too long. I haven't sat and thought about that for a while.
And then at some point subsequent to their reconciliation, do you have any idea where Lori moved to? And I would talk about in June, July, August of 2018.
So that the house it was either Gilbert or Chandler, Arizona. She moved into another house.
And at that point, were you still maintaining that daily phone discussion with Lori?
I don't know how often we spoke.
You don't remember.
I don't remember.
Okay. So you wouldn't be able to say that you spoke to her every day. You don't actually remember how often.
I don't remember.
Okay. And then at some point there was an issue with Charles and Lori and Alex at that Arizona home. You recall that?
Yes.
And that was a situation where you had previously testified that there was an altercation with a bat, and Tylee was there. And at some point, Alex went into the bedroom to retrieve his gun because he was feeling threatened.
Correct.
And at that point, it came back and there was a shooting.
Yes,
What's
that's
the
what I
point
heard.
of this
And
prior?
to your recollection, on the premises at that point, Lori Vallow was there at that point?
I'm not sure exactly where she was at that point. She just shared what she shared. I know at some point she took JJ to school,
Right.
but I don't know in between all of that
Okay.
when she left and when she stayed.
Okay, but initially, Lori was there.
Right.
Initially, Tylee was there.
Right.
Initially, JJ was there.
Right.
And initially, Alex was there.
Yes.
And she was there. We just heard yesterday that she was told Charles is on his way. You got to go. It's just weird. It's just weird. I know she wasn't there. That's weird. Because why would you tell somebody that the day before? Like, hey, you got to get up and you got to leave. Charles is on his way. That just, something about that part from yesterday's testimony is really sticking with me.
And initially, Charles was there.
Correct.
And then after the shooting, or at least at some point, Lori left and took JJ and Tylee somewhere else. Is that what you recall?
I remember something to that nature. I don't know exactly when they left and stayed. I don't remember all that.
Okay. Okay. Now, did you have information about, and just tell me yes or no, did you have information about Lori's financial situation?
Only what she shared with me.
Did she share with you about the life insurance she got as a result of Joseph Ryan's death?
Oh, yes, she did.
Okay, that was a significant amount of money.
I think it was $2,000 a month for Tylee.
Well, I'm talking
She
about
got
the life insurance.
Oh, seemed like it was about $20,000 if I remember.
Is it possible you're confusing what Alex took to Idaho and what Lori got?
I have no idea what he took to Idaho or if he even did that. That's not my knowledge.
And you didn't have regular communication with Alex Cox. Is that what you're telling me?
Right.
They talked more than I ever thought they talked. Let's just be real. They were having conversations because it sounded like they had some one-on-ones, which I was pretty shocked by.
When I say you didn't have regular communication from October of 2018 until January of 2020, how often would you say you actually spoke with Alex Cox?
Oh, I couldn't recall.
And Judge, I'm looking at 2:15. I'm inquiring of the court as to whether or not you want to take a short. I've got a bit to go, Judge.
I understand. Let me have a quick sidebar with counsel.
I like the
Okay,
skips. man.
we're back on the record on KCR 22211623. Before the jurors are brought in, we've got a couple of issues we want to put on the record outside the presence of the jurors relating to making a record about exhibits in this case. The first matter the court would bring up is that earlier in the trial, the court noticed that several of the state's marked proposed exhibits had reference as sort of Bates numbers or other markings on some of those exhibits that referenced the term Valo/Daybell. The court raised a concern sua sponte about a possible appearance of the fact that in Lori Vallo's case, the trial is already concluded and she was convicted. I didn't want reference necessarily expressly on all the exhibits to that trial, as some of the jurors may or may not know about that, depending on what they revealed in voir dire. And so the state has thereafter, I think maybe one came in with a reference to Vallo on a Bates stamp. The state's been redacting those references as it relates to referencing Vallo. From the state, does anyone wish to mention anything further to clarify the record on handling those exhibits and how they've been admitted in the case?
No, that's an accurate representation, Your Honor, and we'll continue to redact those.
Okay.
If there's any left.
All right, so that's the issue there. On other exhibits that came in today, they were offered as defense exhibits 6 and 7. The court, in a sidebar, got together with the evidence clerk as well as staff attorney and counsel to look at those exhibits before they were admitted or published and make sure they were properly marked. It was pointed out that many or most of those exhibits contained improper dialogue written.
The exhibits have descriptions of what they are.
Skip.
Concerns.
Instruction return.
That a lot of your testimony when you were to, please bear.
All right, Ms. Gibbs is still under oath. Mr. Pryor is conducting cross-examination. As I
Skip
mentioned,
all
we'll go for another
I'm not trying to be
25
rude,
minutes here
it's
till
just
3:15
some
and
things are
conclude,
just
since the court's
court
going to have another
proceedings
hearing outside the
versus-
presence of the jurors later today.
Information. So we're going to skip anything that's a court
Yes, you can
proceeding
proceed.
to get to.
No, Ms.
what
Gibb,
we're
I need
to.
just a clarification if I could. You talked about how light and dark are they something that's not within your practice? Is that
We
what I
already
understand?
covered this, dog. You already asked that exact question. You've already covered this. Please do not make loops.
And not the way that they described light and darkness in my beliefs as a member of the church. I would just talk about light being the light of
I
Christ.
think you should be
Okay.
kicked.
So in other words, identifying someone as light or dark would not be something that you would do?
No.
Okay. And discussing the issue of portals, there was some discussion with the prosecuting attorney about portals. And please bear with me. A portal is what exactly?
It was made known to me by Lori that portals are something they created by saying some type of prayer, I think, and
Okay.
creating a place where they could communicate spiritually to each other.
Okay. And that's not something that you would practice as well?
No.
Okay. Okay.
I don't know about that.
I noticed that a lot of your testimony when you were talking about zombies and talking about information about various levels of light and dark, and frankly, most of the subject was information that was conveyed to you by Lori. Would that be fair?
Yes.
You didn't talk to Chad very often, did you?
No.
And in all the time that you knew him, I would say, less than a handful of times you actually spoke with him, right?
I'd say so.
Would that be
Stop-
fair?
Stop saying that. Stop. It's pissing me off. I'm not even on her team, and it's pissing me off that she's just like letting him just walk her, bro. I don't know
Fair.
why he's
Okay.
doing. She's just
So
saying, "Yep,
when I was
could be."
listening to your testimony earlier with Ms. Blake, a comment that you continually made was that Chad told Lori and Lori told me, and I may be paraphrasing that the wrong way, but in essence, that's what you were saying, right?
Correct.
So I guess what I'm asking is you're relying on what Lori Vallow is telling you, and you don't really know whether what she's telling you is the truth or not, do you?
I would say I wouldn't know 100% sure. No.
Okay. Because Lori has lied to you before,
Yes.
and she's been untruthful to you about other things, correct?
Yes.
I mean, you talked a little bit about the whereabouts of JJ, and in your view, she lied to you about that, right?
That's right.
Okay. Now, when I listened to the tape recording, remember the tape that Miss Blake played at the end of the conversation that you tape recorded? Now, prior to that tape recording, had you talked to any law enforcement agency about recording that conversation?
Never.
And I noticed it was interesting because before you started the tape recording, you identified who you were and time and all of that, and made a very clear, succinct record of what was going on. And it sounds like you just deliberately knew in advance you were going to tape. Is that correct?
Well, yeah.
Okay. So you knew what the subject was going to be, and you knew what to answer and what not to answer while you were on that tape, right?
I had no idea what the conversation, how it was going to flow, so I can't say that that's true.
Well, you knew the subject of what the conversation was because you initiated that.
Sure.
Okay. And when I listened to the tape, and if we have to listen to it again, we can. But when I listened to the tape, it sounded like Lori's responses were in the singular. And what I mean by that, as an example, I had to move her to somewhere else.
Him.
Talking about Tylee. It wasn't they had to move her, it was I had to move her. Do you recall that?
Tylee never came
I
up in that
believe so.
conversation. Can someone?
Then
That's not even accurate. Tylee actually never came up in that conversation. We just heard it yesterday.
The other one again in the singular. I will do whatever the Lord needs me to do.
Yes.
Okay. So again in the singular, when you and Lori and I guess Chad was in the
Chad chimed in and testified at the end. Do I need to jump in there and start talking for you? How about, and I can testify that this is what, I mean, he literally jumped in so he also said, we want you to be safe and not know where JJ is. But the problem is, Melanie's just allowing him to say, would that be fair? And yeah, it could be. Sure. Anything's possible. It's like, okay, it's not the point. Yes, anything's possible. Stop saying that.
background. He talked a little bit about his experiences with Tammy, but Lori Vallow's comments were not we will or they will. It was I will in the singular. Do you recall that?
That sounds familiar.
Right. Well, do you need to listen to it again to make sure, or are you pretty
No.
clear?
No.
Okay. And then when you talk
You
to
pissed me off, bro.
Lori about Alex, about saying the things that Alex did about, you don't want to know. Okay. She said again in the singular, I don't know why he would say that.
And Chad said, we're keeping everyone safe. We don't want you to know.
Not we don't know why he would say that. It's I don't know why he would say that. Right?
Right.
Okay. Now, initially when the investigation started over the disappearance of JJ, and that was close to Thanksgiving time, correct?
Between October and November, yeah.
Well, the end of November when the police showed up, right?
Yeah,
You remember that, right?
we do.
Okay, so you do have a recollection of about that when this took place, right? Okay. Basically,
October and November.
you received a call from the police, correct?
Correct.
And initially, it wasn't that you kind of lied. You lied to the police officers. Remember that?
Yeah, I do.
So when you said you kind of maybe weren't truthful in the beginning, no, you lied to the police,
Sure.
correct?
Sure.
So did your
Oh.
fucking client. I'd lose it. If I was in this courtroom, I'd paint the walls from the stand because I'd lose my shit on this.
Okay. And then after you told the police a lie about having JJ with you, correct? You then, after some more prompting from the police, you sort of cleared that up, right?
I don't-
Objection, Your Honor, misstates the prior testimony.
Sustained.
Okay. So how did that play out then after you initially lied to the police? How did it play out that you then corrected yourself with law enforcement after your initial lie?
I went to see them personally and talked to them about everything I knew.
Okay. And that's when you realized that, my lie to them isn't going to hold up. I better sort of tell them something else, right?
Objection, Your Honor, argumentative and mischaracterizes the prior testimony.
Sustained.
So the purpose of going back to the police was to clear up your initial lie, correct?
No,
No, it wasn't?
no.
Well, the purpose of going back to the police was to tell them what you felt they needed to hear, right?
I felt an obligation to share everything I knew with them.
Okay. And I guess that obligation wasn't so strong when you initially told the police the lie that you had JJ, right?
It was a conflict within me.
Okay. And that conflict within you said, it's more important that I lie for Lori Vallow than it
And
is I tell the
Chad
police
Daybell.
the truth, right?
Objection, Your Honor, argumentative and misstates the prior testimony.
That is overruled. You can
So-
answer. Hold on. There wasn't an answer.
Sorry, Judge.
Sorry.
You need me to have her recite the question again? Mrs. Clerk, could you state the question for me, please?
I don't know how to answer that other than say it was a difficult moment for me, and that's just what I did.
Okay. So is being here today a difficult moment for you?
Of course it is.
Okay. And you're having some struggles because at some point, you have information about JJ Vallow and about what happened to JJ Vallow, correct?
No.
Best
all
of my
she said.
knowledge.
That's what?
Best of my knowledge, I'm sharing all that I know about.
She said
So
she
I
didn't know
want
what
to go
happened
to
to
the
JJ.
timeline of Chad Daybell a little bit.
Okay.
And you talked about arriving in Rexburg for the weekend of the 21st, 22nd, 23rd, that time frame. I guess Monday was the 23rd, Sunday was the 22nd, 21st on Saturday, 20th on Friday, 19th.
Why are you going backwards?
My recollection when I reviewed all of the reports and the other testimony that you've given, I was under the impression you arrived on Thursday.
I thought it was Wednesday, but it could have been Thursday.
Stop
It's been too
saying it
long.
could have been. Stop. She's just someone help her, bro. I don't even want her to do well. I just can't believe that he obviously is going to lead you, and you're just like, sure, I'll just anything you say, I'll just do. Yeah, I just say it's possible. It's like, yeah, you're letting him destroy you.
Remember?
Okay, so the comment that you said that you saw Chad Daybell 2, 3, or 4 times previously in testimony, you're not sure about that either, correct?
Well, I can recall certain moments. I'd have to sit down and recall every time I saw him and
Okay.
think about that a little bit more.
Okay, so we aren't clear about how many times we saw Chad on that weekend, right?
Not 100% clear.
And let's kind of go over the timeline for that weekend if we could. If you can try to remember it, if possible. You arrived not on Wednesday like you just previously testified to. You arrived on Thursday, right?
Is that right? I don't remember.
Okay.
You'd have to look at documents to show that. I'm
You-
fine. I'm fine with that. It doesn't matter to me
Oh my gosh.
if it was Wednesday or Thursday.
Okay.
Grow a pair.
And again, you said you flew in,
That's right.
and what time did you fly in?
I feel like it was in the afternoon. I can't recall the time.
And please don't let me mischaracterize your testimony, but my recollection is on that first day that you flew in on the Thursday, you didn't see Chad Daybell.
I believe it was either that evening or the next evening. I'm not recalling that.
Okay. Well, the reason I'm questioning you about this is the next evening
I would say, and this is just the truth, in this scenario, I would give Pryor not that in any way, shape, or form is he doing a great job, but he is discrediting her very quickly. And completely objectively, she sounds so all over the place to the point where she literally can't even answer a question. So yeah, I mean, he's kind of walking her, and yeah, he's kind of just destroying her in that way because she just keeps saying whatever. Yeah.
I almost said it, your boyfriend at the time came into town, correct?
On Friday.
And that was later in the afternoon, late in the evening, right?
That's right.
So when your boyfriend came into town, you hadn't seen Chad yet before your boyfriend arrived, correct?
That's not true.
No, you did?
Yeah, I saw Chad.
When did you see him?
Previous to that,
What time?
well, it was in the evening. I remember when we walked around the track at BYU, Idaho. It was in the evening. It was getting darker outside.
Okay. And that's the interaction that you described between Lori and Chad.
Part of it, yeah.
Now, one of the things when I listened to Lori's tape, what I was curious about, and I guess I didn't understand, was that on the tape recording with you and Chad and Lori, you talked to her about the issue of adultery,
Mhm.
that she was having a relationship with a married man,
Mhm.
and she was a married woman.
Correct.
Okay, and that is what was the phrase you used to describe what that is?
Inappropriate, maybe? I don't remember.
But it had a religious connotation to it, that it was in violation of something.
Adultery.
We were referencing one of the people in the Book of Mormon and talking about a certain king that had that type of behavior.
Okay. And she said something about divorce.
Right.
And I'm going off of my recollection, but while you and David were going through your relationship in the beginning, he was still married, wasn't he? Or had he completed his divorce at that point?
He was in the process of completing it.
So he was still technically married at that point, correct?
Objection, Your Honor, relevance.
Sustained.
Okay. Okay. So then David arrived on Friday.
Yes.
Did you see Chad at all on Friday?
I can't remember if I saw him Friday.
Okay. And then you were there for, I don't remember the name of the firm. Was that the name of the conference?
Trying to remember if that was Firm Foundation, maybe. Okay.
Was that, well, I'm at,
I think that's the
I
one.
think
it
we're
was.
both struggling to find out which one that was.
I'm struggling
Yeah,
to follow
that-
either
I think
one of
that's
you
what-
two
I think
talking.
that's what
My
the record-
brain is turning into mashed potatoes.
It's my memory.
Okay. Firm Foundation. What is Firm Foundation?
It's a few people that got together and talked about evidences of the Book of Mormon and some science, talking a lot about science
Okay.
as well that weekend.
Okay.
And you guys
that
got a lot
started
of groups and names for groups. A lot.
early in the morning on that Saturday morning, right?
Sometime Saturday morning. I'm not recalling exactly the timing, but I would say sometime in the morning.
And then it ran till relatively late that night.
I think so, yes.
Yeah, I recall it was 10 plus hours of
Event.
the seminar. It was an all day event, right?
I think so, yeah,
And that was basically all day Saturday, correct?
correct.
Okay. And then we go to Sunday, right?
Right.
And my recollection is, I'm going off of memory, is everybody went to church that morning?
I don't remember anybody going to church.
You don't remember Chad going to church?
No.
Do you remember a discussion with Chad and David about going to see a piece of property after Chad gets out of church on Sunday?
Oh, yeah, I don't remember him saying, it could be, I just don't recall it, but it could be. But yes, they were going to go look at some property.
And after church, after they got done with their services and everybody was going to church, and I can't remember if you and David went to church that morning, but there was a reference to Chad and you guys were waiting for him to finish up church before you went to visit a piece of property, right?
Yeah, I feel like he might have been the only one if he did go. Yeah, I don't
So-
recall anybody else going. I just don't recall it.
Okay. So Chad, obviously you didn't see him Sunday morning until you guys went out to see the property that Sunday afternoon.
I don't recall seeing him
Okay.
till then.
But you do recall going out to a piece of property, and I want to say south and east of Chad's property.
I wouldn't know the directions.
Me neither. But you went,
I just said it. Why did you say it and then go, me either? It's so hard.
out there, and do you recall who was out there when you went to look at that piece of property?
So it was Chad and I believe a man that was a realtor, and me and David. I think Alex might have been there. And then there was a couple that drove by and, spoke to all of us for a few minutes and then they left.
And I don't recall. Was Lori there as well?
She has a very selective memory. Very selective.
No, she wasn't.
Okay. She was at home with who?
I'm assuming she was at home with her son.
JJ. Okay. Because after you folks went out to look at this piece of property, you went directly back to Lori's townhome, correct?
I think so.
Yeah. And we don't know where Chad when he went home, I presume, right? You don't know.
I don't remember. Yeah.
Okay. So was this a piece of property that your I almost said it again, your boyfriend, and please forgive me if I meant to say husband or boyfriend, it's going to be tough for me, but your boyfriend at the time was looking at a piece of property to purchase, correct?
They were introducing the idea of purchasing it, but he had no concept if he would do it or not, but it was something they proposed to him.
Okay. Well, I understood it a different way. I understood that your boyfriend was interested in potentially developing a piece of property and asked Chad to introduce him to a realtor. That's the way I understood it.
Objection, Your Honor. Move to strike. Counsel's testifying.
Judge,
The
I'm
question was
sorry.
asked and answered.
Sustained.
Is it possible that it was your boyfriend who was looking at a piece of property and asked Chad to refer him to a real estate agent?
I don't believe so.
Okay. But in any event, you and Alex and your boyfriend David and this real estate person and Chad went out to look at this piece of property, correct?
Correct.
And then you went back home, and that was late afternoon, if I recall. Is that correct?
It feels like it was.
Yeah. And then at that point, the one of the projects that you and Lori, I think it was just you and Lori, were involved was starting to prepare to do what's called a podcast.
Oh, you're talking about the evening, the one on Sunday evening?
That Sunday, we're on Sunday right now, I think.
Yeah. So, yeah.
I
we
can't
were-
freaking follow any of this. It's so messy, Pryor. You got to clean this up. Like the timeline, you're going all over the place. You're going all the way to back when she's in Arizona, all the way back to when she was back at, it's really hard to follow this.
Sometime do it. We weren't sure exactly where to get to it, but we finally got to it on Sunday night.
Right. And correct me, was it just you and Lori, or was David involved in that too?
All three of us, yes.
Three of you. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. And then you were going to do this podcast, and you did that. And my recollection is it started at like 8 or 9 o'clock,
Yeah, that sounds about right.
and it went till after midnight.
Yeah, somewhere. I knew it was like around midnight. I don't know if it was after it. I just know it was kind of late.
Okay. So you didn't see Chad other than on Sunday. You saw Chad for the land. And you didn't see him that night during the podcast, right?
He might have come over after the land. I don't recall, but he was not at the podcast.
Okay. And you don't recall whether he was there after the land, though. You think you're saying he
Are
may
we
have.
really
It's possible.
trying to get Chad out of this? I know that's his job, but it just sounds stupid.
Okay. But then during the podcast, my understanding is that sometime during the podcast, you observed Alex Cox carrying JJ Vallow on Sunday night with his head on his shoulders upstairs.
That's right.
Okay. And you don't know which bedroom he put JJ in, is that right?
I did not witness where he put him, but he was not in JJ's room or he was not in Tylee's room.
Okay. But you and David were in Tylee's room that night.
No, we were in both. Well, no, it was JJ's room.
Oh, you were in JJ's room?
Yeah, it was JJ's room.
Okay. Now, in terms of the bedrooms, when you walk up the stairs, there's 3 bedrooms up there, correct?
Yes.
And they're all relatively close bedrooms. Would you agree with that?
Tylee and JJ's were close and Lori's was down the hallway.
Okay. But when we say down the hallway, that's a relative term, isn't it?
Well, they're not as close as the other two.
Right. But they're also not a long distance away. This was not a large townhome, was it?
No, it was just from one end of the townhome to the other.
It's a short distance to one
I
bedroom.
guess relative to a lot of things,
I
yes.
want to pull my earphone out. This is brutal. This is really hard. I mean, there's no point in this. We already know that. And so I really am really struggling. There's not even new information coming out. This is circles on circles.
Okay. Okay. So when you went to bed at whatever time that was after the podcast, at that point, you were presuming that
get to it, brother.
Lori also went to bed and decided to lay down with JJ, right?
Yes.
Okay. And then you and David you went to sleep after some prayer.
Yes.
Okay. So you don't know where JJ was that night, correct?
No, I don't.
Okay. Okay. But you were in the house when Alex brought him up initially at what time was that when Alex brought him up again?
You know, I don't recall. It was a little bit, maybe a few hours into us doing the podcast.
Okay. And then you said David had, I don't want to put words, he had a nightmare or a vision?
They kind of felt like both. I'm not really sure. It was just a bad experience he had.
Okay.
You have to ask him what he felt like it was.
You don't remember?
I remember he was very alarmed by it and upset by it.
Okay. And was he alarmed enough and upset enough that did both of you get up and knock on the door of Lori's door?
No,
Did either of you try to locate Lori and say, is everything okay? Because this was alarming.
I did.
Did you knock on the door of the
Yeah, I went over to her door and tried to open it and it was locked.
okay, but you didn't knock, right?
I might have. I don't recall. I just know I tried to get in.
Okay, and it wasn't opened.
Right.
Did you go down to the other bedroom that was closer to where you and David were staying and checked on that bedroom?
No.
Okay. Okay. And then after this alarming event that was so traumatic to David, you slept in until what time?
Oh gosh.
Yeah, the dream.
Oh,
Okay, so let's just be honest. I am completely speculating for Colby, so this is an opinion. I think there was, I think he heard something, didn't want to do anything about it, and then called it, and then wanted to pretend it was a dream. That only makes sense to me.
I probably woke up around 7 or something in the morning. I don't know.
Okay. And from previous testimony, you indicated that you took off and left at about 9:30. Does that sound about right?
Sounds about right.
Okay. And at that point, again, even though David had this traumatic experience about this nightmare, you didn't ask to see JJ, did you?
Objection, Your Honor, argumentative.
Overruled.
You didn't ask to see JJ.
It's possible I did. I don't recall what I said to her when I came downstairs.
Okay.
Which
Well,
makes
you
him,
make a lot of comments. It's possible. But
if
you
he
don't
heard something and did nothing,
remember,
that's worse than lying and saying it was a stupid nightmare, because that just doesn't, that is just such a coincidence, right? That is almost too impossible to be a coincidence.
asking to see JJ, do you?
I remember when you're meeting with somebody for a full weekend, you don't remember all the conversations you have. You do your best to remember all that you can recall.
Well, I appreciate that because, in the beginning of your testimony with the prosecuting attorney, you were very clear about all of these memories that you had about zombies, about dark and light.
Objection, Your Honor. This is a narrative. Move
Yes,
to strike.
thank
It's
you.
argumentative.
Sustained.
You were very clear on your testimony about zombies. You didn't have a memory loss about that, did you?
No,
You didn't have a memory loss about dark and light, right?
no.
You didn't have a memory loss about how often you saw Chad, right?
Sometimes I remember seeing him. It wasn't a memorable weekend to remember when he came in and out all the time.
But you were very clear about all of the things that Lori Vallow told you at the bequest of Chad. You were real clear about that, weren't you?
Bequest.
No?
I said, yeah.
Okay.
The hell's a bequest?
Judge, I don't know if you want to, I unfortunately have quite a ways to go now, and I apologize to the court. but I
Damn,
gotta
you're not
waste time.
done?
Oh, you don't need to apologize, Mr. Pryor. We'll take our time to get through this witness, but we are towards the end of where we're going to get with the witness today. As I mentioned, the court's got another hearing to take up this afternoon. So if there's no objection.
Or was requested to turn over your phone to any law enforcement agency. Is that
louder.
correct?
Correct.
You were never requested or did turn over any email or any email accounts or social media accounts to law enforcement at their request. Is that correct?
Correct.
You did, however, in 2021, provide a DNA sample to a Rexburg or a Fremont County officer a couple of years after this alleged incident. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay. Now, I want to talk to you a little bit about an organization that I think you're affiliated with called Seven Gatherers. Are you familiar with the term Seven Gatherers?
I'm not.
You're not. Okay.
Is it too loud, guys? Let me know if it's too loud. I can turn it down over here, or you guys can just turn it down. It's totally up to you. Whatever's easiest. It is significantly louder than it was.
Initially, there was some discussion about Chad and Lori. Obviously, we're getting very close during the early parts
How
of
many groups can you be a part of with different names? That's the part that I'm actually baffled by. How many groups could you possibly be affiliated in and call yourself that many different things? I turned it down just a little bit. Let me know if you guys
January and February of 2019. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And at any time, did they talk about having a plan to spend their lives together?
At some point they did.
Do you recall when that was?
I would say they kind of talked about it in the beginning of the relationship about being part of the head of the 144,000. I would say within a month or two. I'm not sure exactly the day.
Well, I appreciate the religious references, but I was talking more on a personal note that they were planning if when Tammy passed away that they were going to spend their lives together. Did you ever overhear that kind of a discussion?
I guess kind of. Yeah.
And on that note, we previously touched on the fact that Chad, in a number of his speaking engagements, prior to even knowing Lori Vallow, spoke about his, and I want to use the right word, his premonitions, I guess, about Tammy not having a long life. Recall that?
Yes.
And you were present for at least a couple of those, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So it was also common knowledge that Chad had openly discussed the fact that he felt his wife was not going to live long well before he ever met Lori Vallow, right?
That's so much more suspicious. You don't get to have that premonition and then she does pass away. If she did pass away, which she didn't. And that's, I mean, come on. Come on, bro. Come on. Anybody with common sense. Come on now.
Right.
Okay. And in fact, you touched on that when you had one of your text message conversations with Prosecutor Wood. You had mentioned that, do you recall having that discussion?
It's possible, but I don't recall it.
Okay. Is it possible that you told him that Chad made it known to a lot of his close friends that he knew that Tammy wasn't going to live long?
Yes.
Okay. We don't need to go into that.
No, we should get into it. How about we get into it, dumbass? How about we talk about the fact that nobody says that about their spouse? Nobody. Unless they have bad intentions.
Now, at no time did Chad Daybell ever tell you that he intended to do harm to Tammy Daybell, did he?
Correct.
And in fact, at no time did Chad Daybell ever tell you that he intended to do harm to J.J. Vallow or Tylee Ryan.
Correct.
Okay. So this plan that they had to spend their lives together would only have occurred if either Chad divorced Tammy Daybell or that if the premonition was accurate and Tammy had passed away, that they would be able to spend their lives together, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Stupid shit.
I want to go back to the discussion in late November when you claim that you got a call from Chad about not wanting to talk to the police, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Now, to put a little foundation in this, on the weekend of the 19th through the 23rd, you were at Lori Vallow's townhome that night, right?
Are you talking about November?
September of 19th through the 23rd, you were at,
Yes.
I'm
Yes.
just putting a little foundation in place. You were at there, and then part of that was to go to a seminar. There were a number of other things as well, right?
Correct.
Okay. So in your eyes, that was the last time that you saw JJ Vallow alive, right?
Correct.
Okay. And did you later come to learn that the prosecutors and the state's allegations are that JJ was murdered at or around the time that
Bye, Amy. Hope you have a good anniversary.
you folks were there for that podcast?
I wasn't aware of that.
You've never become aware of that?
I wasn't aware that they were murdered. I knew that the word was missing.
Okay.
Yeah.
And subsequently, you've learned that the allegation is that there's an alleged murder that took place at or around the weekend of the 19th through the 23rd. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Bull.
Now, your
Shit.
testimony is that Chad Daybell called you and said, don't talk to the police. Is that what
Correct.
it was on the 19th? And do you remember the date of that?
I remember it was 2 or 3 days before Thanksgiving. So it was in November, whenever the Thanksgiving was.
Why, prior better, he just screwed his own client on that one. So let's see why Chad had to do that.
And would the 25th of November ring a bell, possibly?
It's possible.
Okay. Okay. Now, prior to November 23rd, did you have any phone conversations with Lori Vallow giving you a warning that Chad was going to call you?
No.
Okay. But when Chad spoke with you at that time, he did tell you that Lori was going to get a hold of you afterwards, right?
Correct.
Okay. Well, Miss Gibb,
Let's go. No. Stop. Go back to when Chad called her and said, the police are going to call you. Don't pick up. Stop there. He skipped right over that. You see that? He thinks he's slick. This isn't Grease. And you're not slick with it. Go back and nail that point down.
isn't it true that on November 25th of 2019, Chad Daybell contacted you and specifically asked you, where is JJ Vallow?
And no.
And yet, during that conversation, he told you that Lori was going to be contacting you, right?
That's right.
And then after that, did Lori contact you?
She did.
And what was the discussion, Miss Gibb?
She told me that the police had come asking for JJ and that she had told them that I had JJ and that I needed to go to a movie called Frozen, take some pictures.
Okay.
Back.
Stacy, don't make me do this right now.
So your denial of the fact that Chad called you, you're denying the fact that Chad Daybell called you on the 25th, seeking out information as to where JJ Vallow is. You're denying that, right?
Yes.
Okay. But yet Lori Vallow calls you back after Chad Daybell and says, I need you to cover for me and tell that police.
Chad Daybell called first and said, do not tell the police. Don't answer the police. Lori will tell you later. How in the world is this just turning about Lori?
That you have JJ Vallow, correct?
Correct.
Okay. But Mr. Daybell also during that conversation said, you're going to hear from Lori.
Correct.
Did Lori ever tell you, I told Chad that JJ was with you and go along with this story?
I don't believe so.
Okay. But you don't know for sure, do you?
I can't remember. I can't recall all the words I said to
Oh,
her.
okay. All right. Okay. Fair enough. And then was it that day or was it the next day that the police officers called you?
It was the same day.
Okay. And at that point, you told them that you had JJ Vallow, didn't you?
Not initially, but by the end of the day, yes.
Okay. You basically told them during that day that you had possession of JJ Vallow. Is that right?
I said I had him and then I didn't have
Well,
him.
no,
That's
we're
the
going to
words
go
I
one at a
used.
time, ma'am.
Okay.
I'd lose it,
At
bro.
the first opportunity to have a discussion with the police and discuss where JJ Vallow was, you told them you had JJ Vallow.
Correct.
Okay. So I'm having some difficulty with the fact that Chad's trying to cover something up. And yet after a phone call from Lori discussing to tell them that you had JJ, you suddenly go along and say, yes, I had JJ Vallow.
Or objection.
Yeah, why the fuck would Chad call you and say, don't talk to the police? Lori's going to hit you up later. You're just skipping over Chad. How in the world can you're not slick. You're going to be factual, spit the facts. Well, it's weird. Why Chad called you, but then Lori called you later and said this? Yeah, but Chad called first and said, hey, they're going to call you about JJ. Don't answer. Very sketchy.
As a narrative, I'd ask to strike.
Sustain.
Thank
All right.
you.
And then at some point subsequent to that point, you decided to tell the police, well, I lied about this because I was having an emotional issue with how to deal with this, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And how long did it take you for you to have that emotional reflection to go back to the police and tell them, I'm not going along with this lie that Lori and I came up with?
A few weeks.
Objection, Your Honor, misstates the evidence.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, it's already been answered by the witness. It's late, overruled.
Okay. A couple of weeks it took you to decide that I better tell the police the truth, right?
Right.
Okay. And then at some point you said that you decided to go and excuse me.
No, you're not excused. I'm not
You
gonna lie.
decided to go to the police to let them know what really happened. And that was the 2 weeks later, right?
However many times how many weeks, yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. And then at some point yesterday, you testified that without talking to any law enforcement, you then took it upon yourself to record the conversation between you and Lori, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Now, Ms. Gibb, and that occurred on about the 8th of December of 2019. Does that sound correct?
If you're referring to the
Well,
record,
let's slow down and just explain context here. Melanie Gibb was very clear yesterday that when she heard from her lawyer friend who had a prompting to call her out of the effing blue, he talked to her and then she had a conscience and said that I'm going to go tell them I lied, because let's just be 1,000% honest. What happened was she told him the situation and he advised her legally on how to deal with it. That's exactly what happened, because she actually was told that, yeah, you're going to be effed if you don't do something. So that's what happened. And you don't really need to know behind the scenes. That's exactly what she said yesterday, and that's the only thing that makes sense. She wasn't having a hard time. If she could have just said, I don't know what's going on, JJ's with me, and nothing ever happened, she would have never said a word.
recording, yes.
Recording, yes. Does that sound correct?
Yes.
Okay. Do you recall having a call to Ray Hermosillo?
Yes.
Right. And well, your testimony previously or yesterday was that you didn't talk to anybody from the police department before you made that call, correct?
Objection, Your Honor, misstates the evidence.
Overruled.
You testified that you did not call or talk to anybody with law enforcement prior to recording that call to Lori Vallow. Is that correct?
Your Honor, again, I'm going to object. This misstates her testimony.
I'll sustain that objection.
Did you have any contact with law enforcement prior to making that recorded call to Chad and Lori?
I wasn't aware of the dates, so I'm not sure exactly when those dates were.
Oh, so are you saying you did talk to law enforcement?
I did.
Oh, prior to it, right?
I'm not sure of the dates.
Okay. Well, would it refresh your recollection that there were 2 calls to the Rexburg police with Ray Hermosillo on the 6th of December and the 7th of December? Does that spark your memory a little bit?
No, I don't recall the dates.
Okay.
It's just your memory, not mine.
Your memory.
And you don't have any recollection of talking to the police beforehand then, right?
Beforehand, what?
Before you recorded the call to Chad?
I could have, or after, before. I didn't recall the timing.
Oh my Lord, this is rough. Please pick a side. Please say yes. I just say I don't remember. Please, for the love of the rest of this hour, just be clear and say I don't remember. Stop trying to throw both of them all. It's just a big net of hell.
Well, isn't it true you testified yesterday that you didn't talk to the police when it was inquired?
Objection, Your Honor, that misstates the testimony.
Sustained.
So you did talk to the police on the 6th and 7th with Ray Hermosillo by phone before you made that phone recording to Chad and Lori, right?
Objection, Your Honor, asked and answered. She's already said she doesn't recall the dates.
Thank you.
I'll overrule that if
Damn
she
it.
has any additional answer.
Ma'am?
I'm going crazy.
You want to repeat the question, Ms.
Oh.
Pryor?
Crazy.
There was contact with law enforcement before you made that recording, right?
It's possible.
There was contact. I don't recall the time.
Okay.
Thank you.
And you don't even recall the date, right?
No.
Thank
Okay.
you. That's all. Thank you for being clear.
All right. Now, during that phone call, I touched on this yesterday a little bit. And Lori's comments on the phone call were, I had to move her somewhere else. You recall
It
that?
wasn't her. You're in the courtroom, and even I can tell you that the phone call never mentions anybody but JJ. Tylee was never mentioned. her is I don't know where you got that from. You didn't listen, obviously. It's the whole conversation was solely about JJ. And then how they blamed her, Melanie, for having JJ, and she was trying to catch them in a lie. And then they got in their little fight, their little cat fight over who cheated on who. But at the end of the day, I don't know how you misquote this in court as the defense lawyer.
Sounds familiar, yes.
I will do whatever the Lord needs me to do.
Right.
I love you so much. I know, and you said, I know you do, right?
Correct.
Okay. Now,
Oh,
I
honey.
noticed during the phone call that the majority of the conversation was between you and Lori. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
Yeah,
And
until
that-
your boy came in and testified about how he's being, all these theories and stuff are coming at him about his wife.
The only time Chad got on the phone call is when he was talking about, his premonition about Tammy, and that he feels that someone's trying to jump on him as a result of this issue between you and Lori. Would that be fair?
Objection, Your Honor. The
Yes.
call speaks for itself, and that misstates what was in the call.
Sustain.
But you would agree with me that Chad was really not a primary or significant portion of that call, correct?
Yes.
Stop.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
Now, one of the things I
Walking you.
took note of during the phone call was that Lori made the comment, you more than anyone else knows the truth when she was talking to you. Do you
Yeah.
recall that?
Yes.
Isn't it true, ma'am, that that was a way for her to hide the fact that, Miss Gibb, you and Lori Vallow know the truth about what happened to JJ Vallow on the 23rd of September, correct?
No.
Okay. How about the 22nd of September, ma'am?
No.
Okay. Isn't it true that Lori was being very vague on that phone call because Chad was there and she didn't want Chad to know that you were going to talk about the murder of JJ Vallow?
What?
I have no idea what her agenda was.
Okay.
I turned the volume down, guys, because it is loud. If you need it back up, let me know. He thought he was gonna catch her right there. You're really gonna sit here and try to pitch this idea for him? He was saying we don't want anybody to know where JJ is, meaning he knew where she was. I'm gonna snap on these. Like, this is so stupid. This is literally grasping at straws. He has nothing, and his only thing.
Ma'am,
Frick this.
there's been some reference to names, people using different names. Chad, Lori, yourself, and the name James and Elena came up, right?
Yes.
Don't.
You're familiar with that.
I don't want to hear
Yes.
this.
Are you also familiar with the fact that that was a novel that Chad was writing about his relationship with Lori Vallow?
Yes.
Okay. So that all of that discussion about James and Elena was Chad using one of his personal experiences, maybe not a proper experience, but an experience about his relationship with Lori, and he assigned names to those two folks, correct?
I wouldn't know his agenda.
Okay. Now, you also had a nickname as well, right?
Yes.
Phoebe?
Yes. That sounds
Not
familiar.
went by Phoebe?
Stop.
familiar?
Very occasionally, she would say that.
Are we watching Friends? Shut up. She is not Phoebe, bro. Shut up. Lori loved the show Friends when I was growing up. Please tell me that she did not call the blonde friend Phoebe. Oh my heavens. Not Phoebe. This can't. There is no shot. Oh my gosh, this is like they should all have to be getting mental help. Seriously. Hey Phoebe. Hey Elena. Hey James. How are you?
Okay.
Yes.
And Judge, this slide I'm about to show comes from Exhibit 7D, which was previously admitted by stipulation of the parties. I can show it to counsel.
Phoebe, bro. Not Phoebe, bro. It can't. You guys can't be this down bad.
You'll know, and I'll try to navigate through that if I can. We'll see how well
Just
we do
go
there.
to Comic-Con, dress up, and get it out of your system. Go be a character for a day. Go watch movies. Why do you have to play? Why did you have to do this in real life? You guys are all mentally not doing good.
Is this defense exhibit 70?
It is Defense Exhibit 7, Judge, in subsection D.
7. Okay.
7, I'm sorry, 7.
That Elmo has both a light and a zoom in out feature on it, Mr. Pryor.
Perfect. Can I have you stand here for me?
Still can't see this.
Okay. So you previously discussed the fact that you never talked about dark portals or dark lives and things like that, correct?
I didn't go around teaching them to people that I can recall.
Okay. Well, this is an email. I'll represent this as an email from Lori Vallow to you, and it says Phoebe. And then you responded with the email below, and I apologize for the print on there, but if you could read from thanks and go down to the bottom to me.
Thanks. I love you so much. I'm going to teach you right now, teaching about discerning and shutting off dark portals.
Now, I will represent to you that that was an email that was put together, and it was from you to Lori Vallow. Do you recall that?
I don't recall that email.
Okay. But in that email, you're talking about teaching people about dark portals. Correct?
It sounds like she said she was going to teach me.
Do we need to look at it again? Judge, can I approach the witness with the exhibit?
If you've got a printed copy, you can have the bailiff take the exhibit to the witness.
I like that guy. I told you he's nice.
Judge, may we approach briefly?
Yes.
Ms. Gibb, have you had a chance to read that?
Yes.
Mr. Bailiff, could I have that returned to me, please?
That exhibit, Mr. Pryor, based on sidebar, we're going to designate Defense Exhibit 7C is what was just published to the jurors and given to the witness.
Now, Ms. Gibb, the date of
Almost
this
over.
email from Lori Vallow to you was dated 7/25 of 2019.
Okay.
Okay. And at that time, you were in the process at about that time, very time, on the way to a mountain retreat camp to teach that in the next few days, right at the time you sent this, correct? Remember that?
No,
You don't remember that?
I don't remember anything about me teaching anybody anything like that.
Okay. So you're denying the fact that you and Ms. Vallow had a conversation and you talked about teaching and shutting off dark spirits or dark portals, right?
Incorrect. She shared that.
Oh, she shared that with you.
No, that text says that she wanted to teach me. It had nothing to do with what I responded to that I can see from that text.
Well, forgive me, but the text says, I'm going to teach right now, teaching about discerning and shutting off dark spirits. So it's your contention then that you're not Phoebe, right?
Well, I gather from that conversation that she was sharing that with me.
Okay. Well, I gather from the conversation that you were sharing that with her. So we have a disagreement. don't we?
Objection, Your Honor, argumentative.
Sustained.
You're not
So your position is you
Phoebe.
never talked or taught in any camp.
I can't with the freaking fake lore they made for themselves. I can't do it. This is all in his head. This is a sick human being's imagination land. You're in Charlie Chocolate Factory with a psychopath who's just created a world and you've just started to live in it.
Is that right about dark portals? Is that what you're
That's
testifying to?
correct.
Okay.
Now you're very certain, huh? You're very certain now. You knew what the darkness was. You knew all this stuff. You knew about the portals. You knew about the cheating. You knew about JJ. You knew about everything.
Now, you also previously testified that you never discussed dark and light or super dark
No,
or,
you
or
did.
different levels of dark and light. Is that right?
I discussed it at times with probably people in the inner circle,
Yeah,
but
the
I didn't go
cult.
around teaching it that I can recall.
I didn't ask about teaching. I said that you had discussions with people about light and dark then, right?
Right.
So that's not a term that's not unfamiliar to you, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So when you say the inner circle, does that include Mike James?
No.
Okay. So you never had a discussion with Mike James about
Who's Mike James?
super dark and dark. Is that right?
Not to my recollection.
Okay. Would it refresh your recollection that on November 12th of 2019, you contacted Lori Vallow complaining about Mike James and someone named Nancy being super dark? Does that refresh your recollection?
I don't recall that.
Okay. And if I were to show that to you, would that help you refresh your recollection?
It doesn't matter to me. Regardless, I just don't recall it.
Okay. Well, Mr. Bailiff,
Does it matter to me?
Provide this to Ms.
That
Gibb.
wasn't the question. What the hell's Mike James? See, that's the thing. Don't play me and you act like you didn't know about the light and dark. That is even worse. Come on now. We know you know. That's not even a question. They were all on this. They all loved it.
Ma'am, when
They
you've done
all
reading that,
seance
just set that or
together.
give that back to
Don't
the other.
lie now.
Okay.
Give it back to the bailiff, please.
It doesn't matter to me if you
Mr.
show it to
Bailiff,
me.
if I may, please. So you saw this. Does this refresh your recollection, Ms. Gibb?
No,
It doesn't.
I don't recall.
Okay. Well, do I need to show it to you again and ask you?
I can read it and I see what it says. I just don't recall that text.
Okay. So you don't recall talking about Mike James and asking for a favor and mentioning that someone named Nancy is super dark, but obviously there was that conversation, right?
According to that text, but I don't recall that text.
Okay. And talking about being violent and bad language.
Ava?
Yeah, I saw that.
Okay. You're not denying that this
Well,
text
babe.
exists, are you?
No, I just don't
Okay.
recall it.
You just don't recall talking about super dark. So when you gave your testimony that you never really preached or talked about super dark or super light or anything like that, is that still accurate?
I don't recall talking to people outside of the inner circle about that.
Okay, well, that's Mike James, and you just told me Mike James is not in the inner circle.
He's not.
So that's somebody you were talking to Lori about, and it was based on a discussion about light and dark, right?
Right.
So you did talk outside your inner circle about this, didn't you?
Incorrect.
Incorrect? Well, Mike James isn't in your inner circle.
No.
Mike James is unloading on me and says Nancy is super dark. So are you
Who's
suggesting
Mike
that, it was just
James?
Mike James saying the super dark and you were just listening? Is that what you're saying?
Is Mike James
I
a
don't
made-up
recall
name?
how I felt at that time or what he
Is
was
Mike
saying
James
context.
somebody we know that is a fake name? Who's Mike James? We've never heard that name. At least I've never heard that
I have
name.
no memory of that. I'm sorry.
Okay, and your lack of memory is
Objection, Your Honor. Argumentative. These have been asked and answered, and this is a narrative.
This last question was not a question. It was argumentative. It's sustained.
Judge, and I think I'm going to move on. Okay.
Sure.
Judge doesn't
You
give a
mentioned about castings.
Right.
And it's your testimony that prior to meeting Lori Vallow, you never engaged in castings. Is that right?
Right.
Okay. But then when you met Lori Vallow, you started the process of engaging in castings.
Correct.
And you mentioned that as part of castings, physical violence to anyone was never part of the solution there, right?
Correct.
The solution was to engage in castings and pray to have evil spirits leave the body of the people you believe are possessed.
Correct.
Death was never in the equation for castings. Is that right?
I guess they eventually said that they would pass on if the evil spirits would leave.
So is that something that's consistent with your LDS faith?
No.
But you engaged in that conduct, right?
Correct.
Okay. Did anybody force you to engage in that conduct?
No.
Okay. I'm going to switch gears a little bit. We previously talked about you going to Hawaii to visit Lori in 2019. Okay.
Man,
Did
you're
Lori
just
pay for your
going
flight on that
all
trip?
over the damn place, bro.
I don't think so. I don't recall.
Don't recall, right? Okay. But Tylee was not there. That would you recall?
Not when I was there.
This is effing painful.
There were occasions when Lori would pay for people's flights. Do you recall that ever occurring?
I don't know.
Okay. Do you ever have a discussion with Lori about paying for Chad's flight to speak in Arizona?
Doesn't sound familiar.
Okay.
Very selective memory. Very selective memory.
I want to go back over the timeline a little bit about the weekend of the 19th through the 23rd. Okay.
Okay.
You arrived in Idaho Falls on the 19th. Is that what you recall?
Yes.
That was a Thursday, right?
Yes.
Okay. Lori picked you up at the airport. Is that correct?
Yes.
Was Alex there as well?
He wasn't in the car. No.
Okay. You also, on that Thursday, in a previous interview with law enforcement, mentioned that you went to a restaurant immediately upon arriving in Idaho Falls on that Thursday.
That's right.
And that restaurant, if I recall, was a Johnny Carino's. Does that ring a bell?
I just know it was an Italian restaurant.
Okay. Okay. At that point, was JJ with you too when you went to Johnny Carino's?
I don't recall seeing him there.
Okay. Do you recall that Lori had hired a babysitter that day?
Yeah, I think so.
Right. And Alex was with you because the JJ was with a babysitter, right?
I believe he met us at the restaurant.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
I've never heard someone say okay more than this guy.
Then after you were at the restaurant, do you recall that the two of you then went to a Walmart?
I don't recall.
Okay. It's possible you went to a Walmart afterwards, right?
It's possible.
Okay. And then you, after going to Johnny Carino's and going to the Walmart, it was relatively late that night, correct?
I feel like it was in the afternoon.
Okay. Is that what you recall?
Yes.
Okay. But then is it your testimony that the remainder of the day you and Lori spent time together, you didn't see Chad, correct?
I don't recall if Chad came over or not. I just know I was with her.
And that was Thursday, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so then we move on to Friday. Do you recall going to a place called the Gravity Factory on Friday?
Some jump place.
I think that's
Yeah.
what that was,
Yeah,
right?
I do recall going there.
Talked about that with law enforcement, right?
Yes,
I think you called it like a jump house or something like that.
like that.
Do you remember about what time you folks went to the jump house on Friday?
Well, I'm not sure it was Friday, but it was daylight outside.
Okay. Well, we know that it wasn't Thursday because we already discussed Thursday, correct?
I can't say if it was or wasn't. It could we could have done it on Thursday.
You could have.
Yeah, I don't recall when we actually went.
Okay.
I had to disappear for a
So
second.
you recall telling law enforcement in an interview that on Friday you went to the jump house or to the Gravity Factory? Do you recall telling law enforcement?
I don't recall the date I shared with them.
Okay. And you don't recall what time you went to the Gravity House or the jump house, right?
Correct.
Okay. Okay. On the Friday morning, do you recall
Remember?
going anywhere Friday morning?
I just know specific things we did. I just can't always recall exactly what day it was.
And then do you recall that after you had spent amount of time, before we get there, the jump house, that wasn't for you and Lori, right?
Correct.
That was for JJ?
Correct.
Okay. And you don't recall the number of hours you spent at the jump house, do you?
I would say it was maybe around 2 hours.
Okay. And that was, and my recollection is that was in Idaho Falls, correct?
I don't know where it was.
Oh, you don't remember?
I don't.
Okay. And then after the jump house, you and Lori and JJ was, oh, by the way, was Alex there too at the jump house with you guys?
I remember he came and went. He brought some pizza, I believe.
Well, you guys went out for pizza, didn't you?
Yes, we did. Yeah.
You didn't bring pizza.
I feel like he brought something in. That's just my memory.
Right.
Yeah.
What happened is you went to the jump house, and then isn't it true you afterwards Alex came by, and then all of you went out to have a bite to eat for dinner at a pizza place, correct?
I don't recall what day it was, but we did go out for pizza one night.
And then after you went out for pizza, you went back to the townhome.
What's the effing point of any of this line of questioning? Please tell me that.
Correct?
I don't remember.
Okay, well, you went back because you had to gather your things to go pick up Dave, right?
I didn't have to pick up Dave.
Well, who picked up Dave?
No one.
He drove in?
Yes.
I was under the impression Dave flew in.
No.
Okay. That Dave flew in, that's not correct?
That's not correct.
Okay. And then on Friday evening, the folks in the townhouse that evening were you and Dave,
Correct.
your boyfriend at the time, Lori and Alex,
Yes.
and JJ.
And JJ. And I think Chad was there too.
Oh, how long was Chad there?
I don't recall.
Okay. Is it possible that Chad wasn't there?
It's possible.
Oh
Okay.
my gosh, Melanie. Oh my gosh, brother. Say something with an umph. Make a statement, and if you don't know, don't just keep, you're just, what the hell?
And then do you recall if Alex and your boyfriend at the time were playing Guitar Hero on a video game?
They were playing. I remember watching it. I might have at some point just jumped in a little bit and danced a little bit.
Okay.
Dance a little bit.
That's okay.
Mhm.
But the two of them had spent a considerable amount of time that Friday night playing Guitar Hero, Alex and Dave, correct?
No, I don't believe Dave ever did.
Oh, Dave watched Alex play?
Yes, I guess so.
Okay.
What
And then
the
we go on
what
to
a
Saturday.
weird ass weekend you were all on.
You got up in the morning. and prepared to go to this firm foundation thing, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Now, do you remember in one of your text messages to Prosecutor Wood that you mentioned that you were there at the firm foundation for about 10 hours taking pictures? Do you recall talking to Prosecutor Wood about that?
I don't recall talking to him about that.
Is it possible you spoke to him about that?
It's possible.
Oh
Okay.
my gosh, Melanie. Oh my gosh.
So
Common sense, please.
you were at the firm foundation and you said you were there for about 10 hours, correct?
I think I was. I just don't remember.
He's walking
Okay.
your ass
And,
everywhere.
Do you recall that it was rather late at night on Saturday when you got done with the firm foundation?
Yes, yes.
And you didn't see Chad that night either, did you?
I don't recall seeing him.
Okay, right. So then we go on to Sunday. And you and Dave slept in that morning, correct? Recall that?
I do not recall that.
Okay. Anyway, you woke up late, apparently, and Lloyd-
Objection, Your Honor, misstates the prior
Exactly.
testimony in counsel's, it's a narrative.
Sustained.
is
He
it possible
tells
you
what you're
slept
doing.
in till late Sunday
Just
morning?
say yes. It's possible.
No,
It's not possible?
I don't sleep in.
Okay, thank you.
It's possible. Anything's possible. Come on now.
And then, do you recall that Lori gave you a haircut that Sunday?
Yes.
Okay, and how long did that take?
A few hours because she colored my hair too.
Okay, so that was Sunday morning, correct?
I think so.
Okay, and do you recall about what time that was?
I don't.
Okay. Sometime in the morning, right?
Correct.
Okay. And then you folks went to have lunch that after she cut your hair, correct?
No, I don't remember that at all.
Okay. Did you stay in the townhouse and bring lunch in?
I don't remember how the food was. I don't remember her having a lot of food. She might have made something. I don't remember.
Okay, but at that point, you hadn't seen Chad
Probably
Daybell
made-
Sunday morning, correct?
Either
No, I saw him
enchiladas,
Sunday morning.
shitty enchiladas, or a pot roast. To this day, Kelsey knows she makes good pot roast. I won't even eat the pot roast. You know why? Because it was either pot roast, pasta, or... And then when I was like 18, I don't even remember what age I was when she found out about those enchiladas, but that was forced down everybody's throat. So I've had more pot roast growing up and her pasta sauce that she thought was fire more times than I can count. So probably one of those things. If she made anything, it's one of those. It's nothing else, I promise. Or chocolate chip cookies. There's not one other thing she'd make.
You did? When was that?
Shortly after we went to this field behind a church building. So sometime in the morning. I felt like it was in the morning. Could have been late morning, but it was sometime.
Do you recall discussing with Lori that after Chad gets out of church Sunday afternoon, we'll go out and look at a piece of property? Do you recall having that
We already
conversation
had
with
this
Lori?
conversation.
I don't recall, but it's possible.
Oh my gosh,
so-
Melanie. It's not just possible. Anything's possible. It's possible that it's possible. I could have had a conversation with her at some point in the day. And I don't know if it was morning, night, noon. I could have slept in. I probably didn't sleep in, but I probably took a piss. Just say I don't remember. I don't know how many times I have to say it. Just say I don't remember, because that's exactly what you are saying at the end of the day. When you leave it open-ended, he's going to continue to say, is it possible? And you're just going to keep saying yes, which basically makes the jury think that you are very incredible. You're not credible at all, which you're not. But at the end of the day, it's even worse that you keep doing that.
Is it possible you're just confused about the facts and the time to go visit the land was really early to late afternoon on Sunday?
I felt like her seeing that piece of land that I talked about first, and then the going to see that land for sale was second. That's just my memory.
Oh, so you went to see a piece of land with Lori first?
Well, I wouldn't consider it just this empty field that was behind a church, but it wasn't for any purpose of being purchased.
So you were traveling to the piece of property that you were going to go look with Alex and David, but you were traveling with Lori at that point, correct?
Objection, Your Honor, misstates the testimony. It's a narrative. I'd move to strike.
Overruled.
You were traveling with Lori to go look at the piece of property with the real estate person, correct?
No.
Who were you traveling with?
I don't know who I was traveling with. I think maybe Dave and I were in the truck when we drove over there. I don't remember.
You don't remember. So it's possible that you were traveling with Lori as well, right?
No.
Okay. So you remember you weren't with Lori.
Yeah, I remember.
Okay. but you had mentioned that you and Lori went to see a piece of parcel first.
Yes.
Okay. And then subsequent to that, you went to look at another piece of property, correct?
Correct.
And then Chad was meeting you at that second piece of parcel, correct?
Correct.
And then do you recall you told in an interview to law enforcement that Chad was still in his church clothes at that point?
Could be.
Okay. Well, do you remember that or not?
I don't remember the conversation.
Okay. So it's possible that you told law enforcement that Chad was in his
possible.
church clothes in the afternoon when he went out to see the property, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So you did see Chad at the property at that point, correct?
Correct.
And that's the one we're really sure about, right?
I'm sure about both of them, but yes, he was at that one.
You're sure? Which is the other one that you're so sure about?
The one that we just talked about, the prior one,
Prior one about what?
the parcel that we went to first.
Okay. Oh, Chad was there too?
Uh-huh.
Okay. And then afterwards, you went back to the townhome, correct?
I think so, but I don't recall for sure.
Okay. And Chad didn't go with you back to the townhome, did he?
I don't think so.
Okay. And then at that point, you were getting prepared for your podcast that you were going to do that night, right?
We didn't prepare for that till the evening.
Okay. And again, on a Sunday evening, Chad wasn't there for the podcast, correct?
Correct.
And then just to clarify again, after you did the podcast that was late in the, well, it could have been as late as Saturday or excuse me, Monday morning, but it was after midnight sometime, right?
I'm not sure if it was after midnight. I just know it was around that time.
Okay. And then and then we'll move on to Monday. And Monday, you departed
Mhm.
and left to go back home. Is that correct?
No.
What did you do on Monday?
Dave and I drove to Pocatello to see his son.
Okay. And you left at about 9:30.
That sounds about right.
Isn't it true that you and Alex and Dave drove by Chad's property Monday morning?
No.
Okay. Judge, I have nothing else. Thank you.
Thank
All right,
you,
thank you, Mr. Bryant.
Lord.
Ms. Blake, you can conduct redirect if you'd like.
That was horrendous. Holy crap, that was hard to sit through.
No, that's already up there.
Hot mic, brother.
It's going to be put in. Yeah.
Shut up. Mute him.
I like it. That's right.
All right, sorry, Ms. Blake, we are labeling the one that was specifically referenced as 7C and putting a mark on that. I know it's a subpart of a generally
was
admitted exhibit, but 7C is marked for the
torture.
record.
Thank you, Your Honor. I just wanted to wait.
Listen to the
We'll get
difference
that
in
straightened out. Thank you.
professionalism and listen to the difference in the cleanliness of which Miss Blake states timelines, facts, asks questions, and it's just it's seriously like night and day.
Would you like me to proceed?
Yes, go ahead.
Ms. Gibb, we've asked you a lot of stuff from the years of 2018, 2019. Have you done your best to recall the facts?
Yes.
No. You damn lie.
With regard to Lori, we talked about your relationship with her, and at times I think you indicated you had daily contact,
Right.
and at times it was more sporadic.
Correct.
But this contact with her spanned over a period of time, correct?
Yes.
You were asked if you thought Chad believed that he could see visions, and I think you said yes, that was your understanding.
Yes.
Did Chad ever indicate to you that he had visions?
Well, he shared them publicly, so yes.
So Chad shared that he did have visions.
Yes.
You were asked yesterday about the term vibration.
Yes.
Did Chad and Lori ever use the term vibration?
Yes.
How did they use it?
They used it in a way to express their what they thought their knowledge was about being translated.
And when we talk about that, did your level in translation equate with the vibration number?
Yes.
What did they teach regarding that?
So the higher the number, the closer to the body being in a translation state.
And what did they talk about in relation to a translated state?
Your body would be changed in a way that you wouldn't have to eat or, I don't know, drink, but
Okay, so if Lori and Chad are translated, then right now stop giving them food and water for a week and see if they survive, because that is the stupidest logic on the planet Earth. They're human beings. They're not translated beings. They're not superhumans. They're not anything special. And if you took away food and water, they would die, right? So that's not a translated being. Stupid ass.
I mean, I don't know, your body's just more, I guess, stronger, powerful.
And you wouldn't need some of the things that, generally speaking, mortals or bodies need to survive. Is that fair?
Yeah, yeah.
You were also asked some about light and dark, and you were asked about energy work as well. Do you recall that?
Yes.
Is it fair to say that some people may have a glow
Judge, I'm
about
going
them?
to object. It's leading.
Sustained.
Your Honor, and I think, if I may respond,
Well, you can ask another question, but it is redirect, not recross, so that was the leading question.
I guess that's what I wanted to be heard on.
Go ahead.
I think there was some agreement to allow defense to go outside the scope of direct, and I do think questions were asked that opened this avenue.
Judge, could we approach?
That's not necessary. I'll make a ruling. There was some discussion, and to the extent that there was additional cross outside the scope of direct, then it would be appropriate for leading on your redirect, Ms. Blake, on those topics. So I'll, after reconsideration, overrule that objection because it was a topic essentially brought up anew in cross. So I will allow some leading, Ms. Blake. So go ahead.
Thank you, Your Honor. Would it be fair to say that some people may have a glow about them?
Yes.
And is that a little bit different than the light and dark that Chad and Lori taught?
I think so.
You were asked about your communication with the prosecutors,
Yes,
and you acknowledge you had communication with the prosecutors.
that's right.
Did anything about that communication alter your memory of the events?
I'm not sure what you're saying.
Sorry, did it change what you recall from the events with Chad and Lori, your communication with the prosecutors?
Oh, no.
Did you ever personally observe Lori and Chad on the phone together?
Yes,
And were you with Lori when those conversations would happen?
yes.
Were you ever able to overhear some of the conversations?
Just a little bit.
After Lori
You were sitting right next to her probably every time.
would get off the phone with Chad, would she ever tell you what they talked about?
Yes,
And when she'd tell you what they talked about, would she share with you things Chad taught or told her?
yes.
And you were asked about in these, whether or not Chad had ever indicated to you that he intended to physically harm Tammy. And I think you said he'd never indicated that.
That's right.
And you also said he never indicated a specific intention to harm Lori's kids. Is that correct?
Yes.
Who was it that would label someone dark or a zombie again?
Chad.
Snap off.
And even, and once someone was labeled a zombie or dark, what was going to happen to their body? As
Um,
Chad and Lori taught it.
If they could cast the evil spirit out, the body would naturally die.
So if someone was dark or a zombie, they were going to die.
Yes. Well, maybe. I mean, not everybody. They knew.
He
But that
said
was the
something.
teaching. If the casting was successful, the body would die.
Right, right.
And JJ was labeled darker zombie.
Yes,
Tammy was labeled darker zombie.
yes,
Charles was labeled darker zombie.
yes,
And Tylee was labeled darker zombie.
yes.
Yeah, say
You were
something
asked
to
about that phone call, the recording from December 8th of 2019.
Yes,
And to be clear, did law enforcement ask you to record that?
never.
Thank you, Mary. See you soon.
Do you recall hearing Chad on there telling you that you may be in danger?
Yes,
As Lori talked, did Chad ever jump in and correct her? That you recall?
say that again.
Did Chad ever jump in to correct Lori when you were on that call?
I don't recall that.
And Chad was there with her for the call. We could hear him correct.
Correct.
And Lori tells you JJ's okay.
Correct.
What does Chad say? For your safety, you shouldn't know where he is, where JJ is. That's what we're told.
You were also asked about when Chad called you around Thanksgiving. Do you
Yes.
recall that call in 2019?
Yes.
Do you recall what Chad told you or asked you to do at that time?
He asked me not to pick up the phone when the police would call.
Do you recall asking him if JJ was with Kay?
Yes.
And what was Chad's response?
No. The answer was no.
Sweet of
So
you,
Chad knew he wasn't with Kay.
Manny.
Yes.
When that phone call was placed to you by Chad, did you know JJ was missing at that time?
I guess no, I didn't.
Wait, what? The phone call that she asked where JJ was?
So when Chad first tells you not to talk to the police, you actually don't know JJ's been reported as missing.
Correct. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I have no further questions.
Judge, I have just a couple of items on recross.
Okay, that's fine. Mr. Pryor, I'll ask some recross.
And
Please
Your
don't
Honor, may
come
we
back up.
approach?
Yes.
Yes, please don't come back up.
All right, Mr. Pryor, we
it.
discussed the scope of recross. Please keep it on those topics and you can continue.
Damn it.
With the microphone, Mr. Pryor, please.
Hey, Judge. Ms. Gibb, you talked about the fact that you participated in castings, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And as part of your participation in castings, you knew the intent of what a casting was used for was to rid the body of evil spirits, correct?
Correct.
But then you just testified with the prosecuting attorney that you also knew that at successful completion of the casting, the human body would die. So you knew that when you were doing this castings, that apparently you were ending the life of a human body. Isn't that correct?
I had no idea what really the result would be.
Oh, no. But he got your ass on that. Yeah. He got your ass on that.
That was
Okay.
the theory.
Okay.
That's what you were praying for. That's what you were seancing for. It's not even a prayer, so let's not even use that word. That's what you were seancing with this group for, is the body of that person to just fall dead. You knew exactly what you were asking for.
But you just said that the purpose of castings was when the prosecutor asked you about that it would end the life of a human body, correct?
Objection, Your Honor. Misstates the testimony, misstates the prior question from the state.
Sustained. All right, that concludes the recross then. That will conclude the testimony of Ms. Gibb. I believe she's
Hold on.
sustained. Prior, we discussed the scope of recross. Please keep it on those topics and you can continue. With the microphone, Mr. Pryor, please.
Oh, wait, they go all
Judge.
the way back?
Ms. Gibb, you talked about.
And so I'll request
No idea what really the result would be.
Oh,
That was
okay.
the theory.
Okay.
Hold on.
But you just said that the purpose of castings was when the prosecutor asked you about that's what I want to keep her on.
Ms. Gibb.
So
So
close. Right here.
you knew that when you were doing this castings that apparently you were
What?
ending the life of a human body. Isn't that correct?
I had no idea what really the result would be.
Oh,
That was
okay.
the theory.
Okay.
Whew.
But you just said that the purpose of castings was when the prosecutor asked you about that it would end the life of a human body, correct?
Right.
Objection, Your Honor. Misstates the testimony, misstates the prior question from the state.
Sustained. All right, that concludes the recross then. That will
Just
conclude
got out of there.
the
You
testimony
know why it's
of
fast?
Ms.
It
Gibb.
looks weird. I forgot they're on 1.5 speed, so it looked like awkwardly fast too. That's why I'm laughing, because it was just so. And he didn't even say anything. He just left.
Gibb.
Please tell. Is
I believe
this
she's
it?
under subpoena from the defense also, but I don't know that there's nothing covered that where I allowed the extended scope of cross. Do you intend to recall her, Mr. Pryor?
Judge, I want to keep her under subpoena at this point because if other issues come up and I need Ms. Gibb to come back, I spoke with the prosecutor about how I can communicate with Ms. Gibb if that need arises. But at this point, I want to keep her under subpoena. I would ask the court to do an admonishment about not allowing her to view anything or talk to anybody about the case. But at this point, the final decision has not been made. And I explained that to the prosecutor. But in the event something comes up that I need to revisit that, I need to have that opportunity.
Very well. Ms. Gibb, that concludes your testimony for now. You may be recalled because you may be recalled and are under
All right.
subpoena from the defense.
Ladies and gentlemen, we made it through. Gosh, I don't even know what to say. I'm gonna end by this, and I kind of went unhinged yesterday because it's just the truth. So I'll just tell you guys the honest truth. I know she knows, and I don't think I feel I give her a little bit more leeway in Lori's, but this was just too clear. It's right in front of your face. Too many contradictions. Too much I don't knows. Too much everything that is off. It's just all off. And she heard too much, knew too much. They all did. That whole group did. And there's no excuse. And whether they were told directly where Higley and JJ were, they knew, and they knew in their hearts. And when they flipped on everybody, it was because it was their ass on the line. Truly. So I do love and appreciate you guys. I will see you on Monday. and we'll get back to it. I'll let you know if we're doing anything else this weekend. Yeah, and I'll keep you up to date on the community tab. So love you guys. See you soon, and appreciate you, and have a good rest of your weekend, and I'll see you Monday.